So, you want to start investing, or at least learn what investing is. In this video, I hope to explain exactly how to do that. To start off, what exactly is investing? Well, investing is the act of allocating money in the expectation of future profit. Basically, spending money to make money. Investing can take on many forms, such as stocks and bonds and real estate. There are many other types of investing, but these are the most simple to understand for beginners. Stock investments will be the main focus of this video, as it requires the least amount of money to get started. So, what exactly is a share or a stock? A share or a stock is a unit of ownership of a company. When you buy a share of a company, you now own a small fraction of that company. Companies allow people to buy these shares in order to raise money to grow and operate. So, why should you invest? Well, for one, you may never become rich or financially free without it. Investing allows your money to grow over time, and without it, inflation will slowly eat up the money that you have saved. Inflation is the general increase in prices or the fall in purchasing power of money. For example, if I kept $100 sitting around in 1990 until today, this $100 would only be worth $47.25 in purchasing power. Over half of the original $100 would have been taken away because of inflation. This is why it is so important to start investing. Investing allows your money to grow much faster on average than the inflation rate, which is typically between 1 to 2% per year. However, because of the pandemic, inflation rates have been much higher, such as in October, where our inflation rate was 6.2%, which is the highest it's been in 30 years. So, how do you start investing? In order to invest, you must do so through a stock brokerage. Brokerages are companies that allow a buyer and seller to connect in order for a transaction to occur. These include companies you may have heard of, such as Robinhood, Webull, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, and many others. To begin, simply look up a brokerage and follow the steps to create an account. I personally use Robinhood for my personal investment account and Vanguard for my retirement accounts. For beginners, I always recommend using Robinhood because of its simplicity, as well as the option to buy fractional shares. You are able to sign up for Robinhood as well as get a free stock with the link in the description below. Fractional shares mean that I do not buy one whole share of a company. For example, Google shares are currently trading around $3,000, and let's say that I do not have $3,000 to invest. Instead, I can invest however much money I want into Google and receive a fractional share. Let's say that I invest $1,000 into Google. This means that I will own 0.34 shares of Google instead of buying an entire share. So, when should you start investing? The best time to start investing is now. This is because the longer you have your money invested, the longer it has to grow. Over the long term, the stock market is always headed in an upward direction, meaning that if you start out earlier, your money will have more time to accumulate over time. The best way to understand this is compound interest. Compound interest is the profit you gained on your initial investment as well as the profit on your profits. For example, let's say I invest $1,000 and average a 10% return in my first year. I now have $1,100 or a $100 profit going into year 2. In year 2, let's say I also average a 10% return. I didn't just make 10% on the initial $1,000 investment, but I made it on the $100 profit from the previous year as well. I now have $1,210 or $210 profit from my initial investment going into year 3. You can quickly see how this number starts to grow year after year, and is why you should start investing now rather than later. How do you know which stocks to buy? The simple answer is to not buy individual stocks. Instead, most advice given to beginners is to buy what are called index funds, or ETFs, which stand for Exchange Tradable Funds. Index funds are widely considered the best and safest investment strategy for most people. What index funds do is they invest in a pre-made list of stocks that track a financial market. For example, VOO, or VOO, or the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF will track the top 500 companies in the United States. If you invest $100 into VOO, this $100 is being split up, and little bits of it are being invested into each of the top 500 companies in the US. You can look up a list of exactly what companies these are at any time, but currently some of the top holdings of VOO include Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Tesla, and others. 2 other ETFs I recommend looking into are VTI and VUG, or VUG. VTI is the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, while VUG is the Vanguard Growth ETF. VTI will track the entire stock market as a whole, while VUG will track various growth companies such as Google, Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, and others. You can also see the historic performance of these funds on something like Google Finance. Some important investing rules to consider. In order to first start investing, take into consideration your current financial needs. If you believe that you will need all the money you have saved soon, you should not begin investing. It is also generally recommended to have an emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of expenses. In order to find this number, simply figure out how much you spend on average per month and multiply that number by either 3 or 6. Everything apart from this number that you do not immediately need should be invested. So I wanted to take you guys through the Robinhood interface real quick. So this is exactly what your screen will look like when you first open up your Robinhood account, except this number up here for you guys will say 0, except for if you sign up with the link in the description below, which will get you a free stock. So this number up here represents how much money I have within Robinhood. This is how much I have invested plus my buying power down here. So buying power just represents how much money you have in cash sitting within Robinhood. So I have about $19,500 sitting within Robinhood just in cash, while the rest of it is invested in stocks, which you can see over here to the right. Up here is options, but we're not going to worry about that because that will get way too complicated for beginners. So these are all the stocks I currently own. You can see VTI, Apple, Google, VUG, Microsoft, VOO, and PayPal are all the stocks I currently own. And this is how I've performed just over today. So I'm up $300 today, or 0.44% is how much I've made today. And then you can see all the different time intervals. So this will show how my portfolio is done over a week, a month, 3 months, 1 year, and then all time. And then if I wanted to find a particular stock, all I would do is simply go up here and use the search bar. We will search for VOO, or the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, and you would just click it there. And this will show you the name of the stock up here, the current price that it is at, and it will change as the stock price changes within the day, how much dollar value it has gained just today, and the percentage return of today. So it's gained about 1.55% today, which is typically a lot for this particular index fund. And then here you can see the historical return. So this is what it's done today, what it's done over 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 1 year, and then what it's done over 5 years, as you can see right here. And over 5 years, it has gained 107%. And then down here, if you are invested in VOO, it'll show you how much you have invested. So I have $4,600 invested. You'll see my today's return. So I've gained about $71 from it today, and my total return is about $110. So I've gained about $110 from VOO itself. And then you can see your average cost, if you've bought in again, is $410, meaning that I have bought the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF typically at about $410, while it's currently sitting at $420. And then you can see the number of shares I own too, which is about 11. And then if you were to scroll down just a little bit, you can see exactly what sectors this particular index fund is invested in. This is something you won't see on individual stocks because this is a ETF. It's investing in multiple companies, and it shows you what makes up this exact ETF and what types of companies they are. So there's 25% technology companies within this ETF, 13% healthcare companies, and you get the point of all these. And then if you scroll down a little further, this will show you the top 10 holdings of VOO itself. So its biggest asset is Microsoft, then Apple, then Amazon, and it'll break down the top 10 holdings based on percentage right here. And then if you were to invest $100 within VOO, again, like I explained before earlier in the video, it's putting a little bit of money into Microsoft, a little bit of money into Apple, a little bit of money into Amazon, and so on. And if you scroll down further, something I really like to look at the bottom is the average annual return historically. You can see what it's returned over 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and since 2010. So since 2010, it's returned about 15.73%, which is extremely good. And then if I go back up to the top here, let's say I wanted to buy VOO itself, all I would simply do is look over here to the right. This will look a little different on mobile, but it will be the same concept. So to buy VOO again, I'll select if I want to either buy it in shares or in dollars. If I put in 3 here, this will show that the market price is currently $421, which you see matches up with this number on the left. So $421, and my estimated cost is $1,200. All it's doing is taking the market price times the number of shares you want to buy. And then if I wanted to buy it in dollars, let's say, which I'm going to do, you'll just put the amount you want to invest in here. So let's say I only have $100 to invest. I'll just simply put $100 in here, and it'll show you the estimated quantity in shares. So if I wanted to invest $100 into VU, I will get 0.23 shares of VU. All I would then simply do is press review order and buy. And then as you can see here, VOO purchased. Amount invested, I invested $100. Here's the amount of shares I got, and the average share price was $421. All I'm going to do is press done, and then if I wanted to sell VOO, I would do the same thing. Just put in $100 here, or I could sell it in shares as well, which then I could put in however many shares. So if I wanted to sell 1 share, it'll show $421 here. If I wanted to sell 5 shares, it'll show me that I get $2,100 right here. And if I sell this money right here is just going directly into my buying power, as we saw earlier. So that $2,000 will be added to this amount right here, the $19,000. So that should give you a basic rundown of the Robinhood platform itself. As you can see now, I've gained about $400 on the day. And again, this number will change every second. It's going up and down, but over the long term, it's important to note that this number is typically headed up as long as you are invested in the right things, like the stocks I mentioned earlier in this video. Hopefully now you have a basic understanding of investing, as well as why and how you should begin. Please remember though, I am not a financial advisor, and any investments you do make should be done through your own research. This is our first video on this channel, so please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy, and leave a comment if I can improve on anything. I would love the criticism. Thank you.